Hello, my name is Chris Edwards, and welcome back to Safe Space, the show dedicated to people of Caribbean descent or of Caribbean backgrounds in the LGBTQIA community. This is a space for us in the community to share our stories, our journey of how we've gotten to this place in our lives, how we've come out, or like I'd like to say, letting others in. Each journey is unique. Some of us have had challenges while others. Today's guest is Rohan Spencer, originally from Jamaica, the West Indies, but currently resides in the US with his husband. Rohan is a personal chef, and I'm excited to have him on and for him to share his journey with us today. Welcome, Rohan. How you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How you doing?
I'm good. It's such a pleasure to have you here today.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, as you know, I brought you on so you can share your journey and share your story with all of our viewers today. Let's not waste any time. Let's dive right on in. As a member of the LGBTQIA community and someone of Jamaican descent, how's your journey been?
Oh, baby. It has been a journey. It has been a journey to say the most, or yeah, to just say we had our ups, our downs, our in between. Still battling some of those war scars from that journey, but I'm here. I'm giving God thanks, and I am happy than I've ever been in my life. To be honest.
That's amazing. So let's go all the way back. What was your first experience or knowledge that something was a little bit, and I don't like to say the word different, but for lack of a better word, different, where you didn't fit in quote unquote what was the norm?
Okay, so growing up in Jamaica, I was grown as a church boy. In the choir, mother was married to the pastor's son, and grandma was an evangelist. So you were at church every day, basically. And just the normal thing. I would not be interested to pay at the time. I think they call it marbles. I would not be interested to pay marbles or football or anything that they would see as masculine. At that time, I could sing. So, I would be doing singing, which is not seen as the typical thing for a guy to do. So obviously, a person started to insinuate that, he's different, he's not like everyone else. Didn't have a problem going to primary school until I reached now into high school, which that was kind of the whole shebang right there. By the time I was in grade 9, I was kind of noticing that I was not like everyone else. Um, I didn't find interest in just like normal dating. I would date females, but at that point I was like, the other gender does look good too. So that was the whole thing there until everything kind of came out and my life crumbled before my eyes. I was a prefect at high school. I was in cadet. I was quote unquote popular. So the same week I had an interview on another show when I was in high school. The interview came out maybe the Wednesday. And my life crumbled before my eyes by the Thursday. It was literally just one to the next. Um, but yeah, the experience right there was it was an eye opener to say the most. And the funny thing is, it was just the inner circle at the time that I had was really the persons who were attacking me. Um, yeah, it was something to deal with. Like my mom had to get police officers taking me to and from school because she did not know what the reason was. Like my grandma knew because I lived with my grandma, and we kind of made a decision because my mom lived in the States. We made a decision that okay, we are gonna kind of keep this thing between both of us because my mother is a Christian, my grandma is a Christian too, but my grandma was more open. So she was I was like, okay, I have to protect you first. That is, my mother, on the other hand, was more of lead by faith. And yeah, I remember when I was in school the day and it was like something on social media came out with my name and it was done by a friend, which was very hurtful at the point. Um, but just a simple picture, it wasn't even that expensive, and it just blew up. Like, persons had guns, knives, the whole shebang. I couldn't leave school.
Hold on. So let's just step back a little. Let me ask you this. So I know you said that you were in high school when all of this went down, but roughly around what age were you
Uh,
when all this started happening?
maybe 16, 17.
Okay. So you're in the throes of puberty and really just coming to terms of who you are as a person and having to deal with not only you dealing with your sexuality and who you choose to love or like, but now you've got all these external factors to deal with. How do you deal with that emotionally at the age of 16?
At the time, I didn't, to be very honest. I couldn't. Um, I didn't have a support group, so it was just very hard for me to fathom what the hell was going on. I did think about suicide, but I loved my grandmother too much. It was like I know she could not go on if I did that. Um, but one person, and she was the only one that could actually get me out of what I was going through, because honestly, I didn't have a support group. I had friends from the LGBT community, but they were also afraid of socializing with me. I had four friends, and they kind of around, but my parents kind of banned me from the phones because the threat messages was coming around. So no, I couldn't talk to anyone outside. And my neighbor, I can't forget the day she was going to work, and she stopped and she was like, "This will last for 9 days. Are you going to allow this to determine your future?" 'Cause at the time I had my final exams. And I remember after that, I just literally just put on a mask and I was like, you know what? Let's go forward. I will have to target this head on. And that's what I did. I put on a mask. I would not let them see that it bothered me. Even when persons were throwing stones, and these were persons who I was raised with, my friends were stones. Cab drivers wouldn't take me to school, so I had to wake up extremely early to walk to school just to do my exams. And I just put on that mask, and in some part of me, I don't think I ever took that mask off until I left Jamaica. You just, there's going to be something said, it's going to hurt. So before it's said, you already tell yourself that, hey, you're gonna have to deal with it. And how I dealt with it at the time. So
Okay, so you're having to deal with a lot as a young teenager at the age of 16. You don't have any support from friends, and it doesn't seem as though you even really had a community within the LGBTQI plus community who you could really rely on. So how do you get through like those dark days? You did mention that suicide was even a consideration for you at the time. How do you manage to get over that?
honestly, I don't think you ever get over it. You learn to live with it. And coming from Jamaica, where I don't think we target a lot of our emotions. You learn that this is what it is, you accept it, and you move on. So I had my grandmother there at a point, but again, she has her religion, but she has the love. So she kind of tries to balance them out. So it's just a topic you just do not speak about. So from that, I just literally just moved on. It kind of helped because I kind of transitioned schools to going to school in Kingston, but this face never hides. So someone see you and be like, "Hey, didn't you?" And I just was like, "No, it's not me." So that's how I dealt with it for the most part. I just put on a face.
All right, so you put on a face and you've changed schools. What happens next? What's the next step in this journey?
It continues. It's like, this is it. I am a person that I'm very outspoken, so I will never sit there and be bullied by anyone. So Started school again. It was kind of okay for the most part when I started the new school because it was more college. So I was kind of cool. Start working at, I think I started work at this gas station because I had school and I had the gas station. And my best friend at the time, she did not know about me. So we're now transitioning into, young adults, and she wants to know. She doesn't know the outlet how to ask. And I was dating someone at the time. So I took her around the person, still didn't tell her anything. She went ahead and asked someone else, "Do you think Zeus is like this?" There comes the next episode. That person went on to tell the whole neighborhood. So that was just another thing to deal with. Came home.
And this is supposedly a friend.
Oh yeah, this was my best friend at the time. Uh so that just started a whole story within itself. Had to go back through the same thing, but right now this attack was not that bad because I think at this point I was just not dealing with the bullying. So I let them know. I was like, if you try to hurt me, I am going to hurt you too. Like, I will not stand here and allow this. So was dealing with that, went to work. This chef found out about my sexuality through one of his friends.
Let me pause it for a real quick second. So this is still while you're in school. You were
Yeah,
working.
yeah.
Okay.
So was in college, was working. Um, the chef at the workplace found out about my sexuality. Um, that event ended up with me having the whole of my face getting burned, my hands. He left on the stove accidentally and quit accidentally the same day. Um, so I had those burns 2 days before my birthday. So it was like all my face, my hands, everything was just burnt. Um, yeah, and I had to just kind of deal with that at that point. So it is what it.
I am so sorry to hear that you had to deal with that. It just shows the ignorance of people and the lack of education. And yeah, I'm not even gonna say lack of education. It was just ignorance, And the unfortunate thing, especially in Jamaica, because as we know that it's still against the law and on the books that homosexuality is a crime in Jamaica. I mean, who do you at that point? Who do you turn to?
Honestly, while I was in college, I kind of built my community right there. Not with even persons that I had from college, just friends that I was at a point now where I was more comfortable in myself to let in some persons. Like, I still think I have a phobia from high school days where I can't let anyone in completely. Like, you may come at 80%, but you will never come the full 100 because there's a part of me that still think you're gonna hurt me, you know? And I had one best friend, her name is Alia, like she became my rock when I was going through a lot. Like my mother found out partially. Well, she found out, my aunt told her. And honestly, I got the voice notes. You're gonna go to hell, you're gonna die, this is the highest sin of the highest. And she became my support at that time. She was the only friend that I could really open up to, and she accepted it. She told her family because I went back and forth to her visit. So she told her mom and everyone, she's like, hey, this is what it is, and he's gonna be here often. Her mom was pretty cool. And from then I just built my career. Like I started to do caterings, but with that, I can't have this stigma following me because now it's like a cloak of shame. So when I decided to go in the culinary world completely and started my company, I revamped myself into this Chef Zeus. So no one knew Rohan, they knew Chef Zeus. Then I had my girlfriend. So, with all of that, you kind of stop the rumors for a minute. I started to work for a company in Kingston, and the rumor started again. But right now, I'm more within myself. It didn't really bother me. I kind of had my inner circle. I had like maybe three friends that they were my inner pact, and I had my four from the LGBT community. So we kind of keep each other together. You have a bad day, we call each other from there. So
Let me ask you this. So now you've graduated college and you've started your career and you're what, around 21, 22, 23-ish?
up my 20s. Because I did my associate and that was it. I had my career started off after the associates. I was like, okay.
There's no shame in that. Um, and you've started your business. You've kind of rebranded yourself just so you can get a fresh slate and get a fresh start. So now everyone knows you as Chef Zeus. You're still in Jamaica at this point, correct?
So everyone knew me as Chef Zeus. I had my girlfriend, working a good job. Everything was kind of calm at that. Me and my girlfriend broke up. She knows about my sexuality. Awesome young lady. We're still friends to this day. I started to work in corporate New Kingston. I didn't drive at that point. So, persons have whatever they want to say. I was at work one day. I have this guy. He's literally maybe my only straight friend at that point. And he was the only one willing to talk to me, honestly. Like everybody else would just, you know what they think. You're a guy, I'm a guy. They say you're gay, so they're going to think automatically. So he was my friend, and that's when it kind of hurt because now you're hearing the things persons are saying. Because he was more outspoken. I'm the one where I'll hear it, I'll let it go. He was not that person. He will go right on, head on with everything. And then persons, start to challenge his sexuality. They tried to challenge him, why is he friends with me, like if he's not afraid. The threat messages started to come, but again, at this point I was just not dealing with the bullshit. I was like, if you want to do something, let's go at it. um I was just frustrated. I was not going to hear it. The first time a security guard, because I used to sell food at work, so I would have these days where it's exclusive, where only a set amount of persons could order, and he made and was like, why are you guys ordering from him? He's gay. Like, I'll never spend my money with him. He should die. So I bring this ass to HR. They didn't do much, but I bring this ass to HR. So you had that to deal with. And honestly, if you're again in Jamaica, there is no possible way you're gonna go a day without hearing someone judging you. You could be masculine, there is going to be someone who is going to have something to say. So after a point, I just dealt with it. Like, honestly, even though I still don't trust people, and I don't think I will ever have that trust because every time I got hurt in the past or something got said, it was always from home. It's always some I was raised with them, their family members. It's always from home. So even though I still have up that guard where I'll let you a little in, but we ain't gonna go that far. That's how I've been able to deal with it till I left, honestly.
Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. You've had to deal with a lot in your young life. You know, Everyone's journey is different. I had a previous guest on who didn't have such quite a story from Jamaica. He had his issues to deal with, but not as hard as you had it. And I have to say that you have strength and courage because you've made it through on the other side, despite all of the downfalls and all the heartaches. You've prospered. You were able to come to the U.S. You are married. We'll get to that, and you have a good life now. So I wanted people to hear your story because it's not, as they would say, a bed of roses. Not
Uh,
everyone has a great story coming out or letting people in story. Not everyone has had an easy transition into this life. So you telling your story, I really do appreciate it. The courage that it takes to tell it publicly, especially.
uh,
But you've made it to that other side. What made you decide that, all right, you know what? I can't stay in Jamaica anymore. I need to move somewhere else where I could, just kind of live life and without that fear of constantly looking over my shoulder.
okay, so back in Jamaica, because I had a partner when I was there, awesome guy. But it was just the limitations that you will always feel. He lives on the DL still. So I, at that point, everyone knew about me, but I rebrand myself. So it was like three friends and customers. Customers, they insinuate. They could never put a hand on it that yes. But after that point, I was just at a point where I could not live in the constant fear. Because as much as I have rebranded myself and majority of persons didn't know my story, I know where I was from, you still have that small number. And Jamaica is a small place. Everyone has a friend. And it was just that constant fear. I would be driving home because at this point I am driving. I'd be driving home and I have to take 2 to 3 roads to go home because I have to make sure no one is following me. You know, it's the constant fear of you being at work. You still have to look over your shoulders that no one is gonna hurt you. So at that point, I was like, I am not gonna do this constant thing of living. It's like you're living your life, but you're still within a box. So you think you have freedom, but you still have that fear factor of me and my friends will go out and you're like, you have to be really vigilant that no one is really coming to hurt you because the slightest insult can just uproar. The first time I've ever seen it, I was surprised. It was one comment, and by the time I could look around, there was literally like 20 people ready. And it's just that constant fear of living in it. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I am a person where, as again, I will never live with bullying. I speak out, and because I speak out, that will get me in a lot of problems at times.
Yeah,
Um,
that could.
so I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. My ex partner's still there. He's still on the DL, and I think he will keep that forever. To be honest.
Hmm. That's unfortunate. But how do you? All right, so you've made the decision that you have to leave. Um, how did that go? How did that come about? Like, how do you decide where you're gonna go? Because a lot of Jamaicans, the U.S. isn't the only place that a lot of Jamaicans go. They tend to go either to England or to Canada. So how did you decide on the U.S. and what was that like for you?
Was here, so it was like the easiest bet. But again, it was like my mother lives here, but she doesn't know about me. So transition came here and everything. I stayed as far away from my mother as humanly possible. Like where I live right now takes maybe a 6 hour flight to see my mother. So came here, thought I had a friend in the United States. She still didn't know about my sexuality. But came here, tried to get transitioned and everything. And I remember at the time I felt the pattern aligning where you're still somewhere, but you're living in a box because of what persons think about you. I was working for a Jamaican restaurant, Jamaican owned. So I was still socializing with a lot of Jamaicans. So you're
Yeah.
no sense of you're still in a box. You're just still in a box. And I remembered I started to date my partner at the time, and I was just like, no, I refuse to move so far to deal with this. So I called my friend the day, took her to dinner, told her everything. She was supportive. She said, oh, I love you, Zeus. It changes nothing. You're like a brother to me. that did not last long.
Wow.
I told my boss at the time because we were really close. We're still close. Awesome individual. She's from Jamaica. But again, she has a husband. So it's like that two game where she has to abide by her marriage, which is fair enough. We all have our relationships.
Right.
But still, she cares about me because we got very close. And from there, I kind of just build my circle here. So I met this other young lady. Her name is Ashley. Awesome
Well,
girl.
hold on one second. Let me interrupt real quick, just so we can get a timeline. When did you come to the U.S.?
It was 2 years ago.
Okay, and you were how old?
I think I was 22.
Okay, okay.
I think I was 22. A lot has happened.
Yeah, yeah.
I think because I just turned 25 September. And this year makes 2 years and some months. So,
I got
yeah.
22, 23. Depends on what time of the year.
Then who asked?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was about 22 at that point. But at that point, as I said, came here, I was surrounded by Jamaicans, Jamaican culture. Everything was basically the same. Guys started to come to the restaurant, start to insinuate, oh, I think he's gay. My boss had to be defending me. And I was like, this seems too familiar for me. I am not going to deal with this. And I remembered I told the girl, I told my boss, and I was like, listen, it is what it is. I do not disrespect anybody's belief. But if anyone comes and disrespect me, I'm done. I didn't come from Jamaica to deal with the same thing over here. And at that point, I was dating someone. He was out at that point. He told all his family members. So it was a problem for him to say the most to pick me up from work, and I have to be acting on macho. Like, hey, bro, what's up? He was just not standing for it, but
Yeah.
my were there. So I had to keep up this performance to say the most. So transition here, started to build my inner circle, as I said, met this one young lady. I think that's the point where I was so becoming the person I wanted to be, because
Okay.
us knew. I thought my friend at that point knew. Then I met this young lady. She just casually came in one day to buy food. And we did like this night scene. So I used to wear the night scene too. And she just saw me and she's like, are you gay? That was all that came out of her mouth. She was a Jamaican. And with me, normally, when persons say this to me as a Jamaican, the first thing is to get defensive. And coming from our background, when you hear someone ask you this question, our defense is up. And at that point, I just felt so free. I just turned around and I was like, no, I'm bi. And she was like, I like you. And since that day, she has been my best Judy. She has been my girl. I'm telling you, like, when my other friend, that's the one that I told first. That's the one that she was the only person I knew in Minnesota coming here. Mm-hmm. And when she turned against me, it still hurts now, because I think in years of me not letting in anyone, I let her in.
Yeah.
It was hurtful to say the most, like, to hear the things that was said about me. After I literally just said to her after coming here, I was like, whatever life you're living, my friend, this is just not cutting it, and you need to improve. Saying it from a peaceful place, saying it from a place of just being concerned about her.
Right, and if you're a friend, you should be able to have that conversation.
And I'm telling you, that girl, she went for blood. Like, I have had things said about me. I have had persons drag my name through the mud. never like this. I mean, this girl target my job. She told my boss, she's like, you need to fire him. Like, just playing up. She's like, he's gay. My boss is like, I know. So now she noticed she couldn't get to my female boss. She called the male, because obviously, you know, the male ego in Jamaica. So
Mhm.
now to all the guys which come to my workplace, and she went in. And at that point, it was kind of surprising to me, but I expected it. Because at one point, you're always having, I've heard how she talks about LGBT back in the past. And that's why I was so scared to come out to her at the first point. And yeah, she did her worst. Believe me, I am telling you, she contacted like ex females that I was with before. She went in. At that point, I did what was just natural to me. I went within my shell. I assessed the situation and then I moved on. And that's why at that point I knew that I kind of had the right inner circle now, because I could call Ashley, I could call my best friends. They were very much there to keep me grounded at the point, you know. Um, I'm an introvert at heart. A lot of people will not expect that, but I'm an introvert at heart. So, like, for the first 24 hours, I was at a hotel. I turned off my phone and I kept it just right there, you know, trying to
Mhm.
get my face back together. And after that 24 hours, I just made the decision of moving forward as in the past. You know, persons are gonna talk. I made up my mind that I was not doing this with this whole Jamaican group again. So the person she told, it was very much not a big problem for me. I'm like, well, you guys are Jamaican. I know your view already. Have a great day. You know, that was very much what I thought. But some surprised me. Like three out of the pack surprised me and was like, you know, Zeus, live your life. You didn't come so far to kind of live what persons expect of you. The male ego did what I expected, of course, you know, kind of trying to tell their wives, because it was like a group of married people. Everyone was married. So they're trying to tell their wife, we can't associate with Zeus.
Right.
At the point, I was the guy coming to all the cookouts and everything. So it was hurtful. I still, the funny thing about it, she hurt me the most, but I can't find it within myself to hate her. And
Let me
I
tell you
think that's
something. That's amazing. That is amazing, and that's a testament to who you are as a human being and just a loving person. Now, you've been through a tremendous amount of hurt, disrespect, and people that you trusted turn against you. I want to turn to something more positive because you're recently married, and I'm so happy for you. And I want you to let's finish this talk on a more positive note. Talk about your relationship with your husband, how you guys met, and how all the things from your past has influenced your current relationship.
um yeah, my husband. You know, I can't let him know how much I love him. So, you know, as I tell him every day, I said I'm a bad one, you know. I am that boy. But honestly, he asks me the question every day, what I do to deserve you. I don't know what I did right for you to love me, honestly. And it was just that he was there when I was going through this transition of living here. You know, I met him maybe 2 to 3 months after living friends, because he was in his relationship. I was here, you know. So he was there through all of that, and it was just a kind face within everything. Like, I remember when I was going through it with my friends, with my mother, like, because I finally told my mother when I was gonna get married, and that was everything that I expected. But he was just a kind face. And then we started to date after he ended it with his partner, or they came to a mutual agreement, I guess. And yeah, He's everything to me. I won't say a lot because, again, I am that boy and I do not want him to think I'm falling, but
But you have. I mean, and he'll see this, and
Oh my,
the nice thing is that you have found your person though, and you can
he's
find comfort in him.
he is home. He keeps me grounded. Honestly, I always tell people my motivation of always moving forward was my grandmother. Like, that's the goal of just never letting her down, even though she has passed. But then after being with him, it's like, no, I'm more driven because I can't let him down, you
Mm.
know? And I am quite the firecracker in my friends group. Everyone knows Zeus is gonna tell it and he doesn't care. But with my husband, I tend to baby him, and my friends are like, the other day, my friend literally looked at me and she's like, "You have changed." She's like, "This calmness, I'm not used to it." And it's just the thing with him where he's an introvert too, but the thing with him, he keeps me balanced.
Mm.
I tell him all the time, I said, it's the selfless love that I found in you, which I can match it. He will know we're making a decision that he will hate. And he will like, okay, babe, let's go. And when it fails, he'll just look at me and be like, so how do you feel about that? He's my world, to be honest.
That's amazing.
I do.
Let me ask you this: like, what does it mean to you to be able to come to this country and to be able to say, I found my person. They make me happy, and you know what? No one cares. It's just about, you're in love, and everyone respects that. Like, because the polar opposite of that.
Yeah. I think the thing with me, I transition really fast. Like, I would say I'm a chameleon. So when I'm in a space, I adjust really fast to it. But for me, I think it was the shock, first of all, to see that, oh, someone kissed you and there's no one here to kill you. We're safe. But honestly, it is a dream come true. Like, I literally have evolved so much, and it's a feeling you can put a price on, honestly, to know that you have the option of loving who you want to love. You have the option of just living the life that you want to live without that constant fear of just anyone hurting you.
Mhm.
So it's the best decision I've ever made. The hardest one was when I was gonna get married, because at that point I knew I was I thought I was gonna lose my mother, honestly, because she had told me that, hey, if you have ever done anything like this, I'm done. But we are getting there. We had a whole breakdown and didn't talk for months and whatever. And she is coming around. We have a great relationship now, thank God.
That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, I love my mom as much as I don't tell people I love them a lot, because when you do, they started to act out. But, but love my mom, and my husband he has been the go-to guy with all of this. Because honestly, I'm the person that I'll just cut and keep it moving, because I think I wear my emotions on my sleeve. And because of that, when a person hurt me, it really hurts. But transitioning here is a decision I would never change, honestly. Best decision. Best.
That's amazing. I love that your story, not that your story is over, but it's having a happy ending, and you're on the road to healing. You're on the you found that person that supports you, that gives you the love that you deserve, that you're deserving of, and then the fact that he's able to help you to rekindle that relationship with your mother. Despite what we might say, and I know you've had to have a tough armor and tough shell, you still want that love from of your mother, and the fact that you guys are starting to have that relationship again, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, thank you. We're getting there. It's awesome. awesome. You know, as I said, my mom was like my grandmother. She's my go-to. So the fact of thinking that I was going to lose her, it was a lot. But I was like, oh
Mhm.
well, my husband. Like literally, that was just my thing. I was like, if you want to go, I have my husband here, so we're cool. You know. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, as I said, he is more the chill guy. I'm very much, let's cut, let's move on. But he keep me grounded, and he's like, it's your mom, you know. So
Yeah. So before we end, I do my research. I've seen some of the stuff, the things you've posted on social media. You don't seem like an introvert to me. You seem very outgoing and out there. Talk a little bit about the. I mean, you definitely show your personality on your social media page.
I have a social meter, and I tell people this, like, if you are, I call it my inner circle. If you are my inner circle, you know me at heart. You know I have a social meter. So you see, when that meter is at zero, I am done. Leave my house. Don't call my phone. We are good. But I love life. I think life should be experienced. I love life from when I was in Jamaica. So coming here, now that I have the freedom, I'm gonna be outside. I'm going to be living and loving and enjoying, because life is beautiful, you know. So my husband knows this about me. I will be on a flight. I will be outside, but the meter is done. It's done. It's I'm going to bed.
Okay.
You know, you kind of figure to love your own company when you have been through so much, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's me. I love to go out though. I'll be outside. I'm gonna be outside, but
All
I
right.
do a point when I'm gonna be inside, covered up, ignore my phone, and that's me, honestly.
Okay. Okay. So one last parting question. What do you want to leave the people with? What do you want them to walk away learning from your journey and your experience?
So there was a saying I picked up way back in the past, and it's, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And for me, it has been something that keeps me grounded, because when everybody else is seeing one picture, you have to remind yourself of who you are and what's the bigger picture for you. So, with that being said, live your life to the fullest, make decisions for you. Because I always tell people, at the end of our lives, you will have to look back on your life, and best believe those regrets that you have there about what you did not do, because what people will think, they won't be that big at that point. So listen, live life, laugh, love the people that loves you, and come to a realization that if a person have a view of you and you can't change that view, that's okay. That's okay. Once you look in the mirror, you love you. You give yourself the support that you give. Every day I tell myself, I am enough, you know, I deserve everything and more. So with thinking that life is beautiful, live, laugh, make fun of yourself. Like, honestly, it's not that big of a deal.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, you are enough. You are enough. Um, Zeus, Rohan, thank you so much for sharing your story with all of us today. This is amazing. Like I said in the very beginning, we all have a journey and a path that we've journeyed to get to this point, and everyone's journey is different. It's unfortunate that you had to go through all of what you went through, but you know what? It's made you a stronger person. It has allowed you to come to the other side and just live your best life now. And I think you have an even deeper appreciation for the life that you have and the life that you will have. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. And I want to see you guys here back next week for Safe Space. Have a good one, everybody. Goodbye. Thanks for watching this show on Indecent Media. Now, if you're watching here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and hit the notification button so that you can get notified when we drop new videos every week. See you guys next time.